Welcome back to a brand spanking new episode of the Crew Review. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing great.
Spec-frickin-tacular.
Wow, that's
quite the
level of
Feeling
goodness.
good. Feeling good.
Like I should.
We just had some pie,
Don't
so
copyright this song.
I'm good.
Oh, sorry. Cool. Well, as you know, we watched Jumanji, The Next Level.
Jumanji.
Yes, or Jumanji, as they say, as Eddie says in the movie.
Does anybody want to say it like that? Like, I wish you want to say Jumanji, and then make the drum noise.
Oh, yes. I kind of
I
feel
would
like...
that. I don't know. I feel like I'd get chills down my spine if I started hearing that, like in real life. It's like, where does it even come from?
The sky.
Exactly.
Did you hear that?
Wait, you can hear it too?
I can't.
It hasn't stopped for 3 days.
This is concerning. You should be worried about us.
Oh,
All right.
So anyway,
Quarantine life.
yeah, quarantine life. We're all getting crazy. Oh yeah, and also like the whole week, I kept trying to remember: is it the next level or next level? In my notes, I put the next level, but I can't remember.
Jumanji, the next level.
Because there is a the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got
So
it.
you were right.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, do we have anything to talk about before we get into the spoiler zone?
Does anybody have any good snacks that they've been eating during quarantine?
This week with snacks with Beth.
That's right. You know
Beth
all about
loves
the
a good
food.
snack.
She does. As you know, last week we talked, as a recap, we talked about Easter candy. I, in fact, liked the, what did I like? What did I like, Jennifer? Was it the
Was it-
jelly beans or was it the
No, I
Reese's?
said jelly beans.
Oh.
Kinley said jelly
We were
beans.
jelly beans.
You said the eggs.
The Reese's
You like
eggs?
the eggs?
I said the Reese's eggs. You said something
Oh, I
else.
You
said
said
peeps.
peeps.
I said peeps. All right.
Peeps.
I would like to update everyone. Easter came and went, and the Easter Bunny gave me a peep shish kebab of multicolored peeps.
Is that
on
not
a
terrifying?
stick.
Was it?
They were impaled, and I can't wait to eat it. It's just sitting in the Easter basket, but I should have brought it on the show.
This is
They
what they're
were
making for
impaled.
children, folks. This is what they're giving to the youth of tomorrow.
Yeah.
Street
Today,
youth.
I guess. The youth of today. Never mind. Whatever.
Oh, that's so
But
funny.
anyway, as far as regular snacks, I like lots of. Yeah, I was about to say that. My favorite snack is probably Chex Mix, the bold flavor.
Bold.
Love it. What about you, Beth? What do you got?
I mean, I've been going through a variety of things, but recently it's been white cheddar Cheez-Its and chips and salsa.
I was gonna say chips and salsa. I've been enjoying some chips and
Yeah.
salsa.
Now,
It's hard to go wrong with chips.
what kind of chips do you get, and what kind of salsa do you get?
Well, I like the paste picante.
I don't know what that is.
It's very good, and you gotta get the hot because I like it a little spicy.
Is that that's the name of the salsa?
Yeah, the
Okay.
brand is
Pace.
Pace.
Oh, Pace. Yeah. Okay.
You
You
got
can get
this.
the picante.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's very good, and I love mixing it with some sour cream too, and then you chill it for a little while, and it's kind of
Interesting.
that's why I like the hot because I like things spicy, but if you
Yeah.
put sour cream, it cuts the spice. So I try and
Okay.
get the hottest I can, so that I still have some good
Okay.
spice. So
Beth?
it's been good.
I mean, I salsa hop, but there's a really good one.
She's a hopper.
I am. I usually do like Newman's or On the Border, or there's a really good one I get at Lidl that's Chipotle, and it's got like a smoky flavor to it. It's pretty good.
Can't go wrong with On the Border though.
Yeah.
On
oh
the
my
Borders.
goodness. We
Good
usually
stuff.
get Tostito, just
Scoops.
medium chunky.
Oh.
For the
Junky.
salsa.
For the salsa.
But also, that is what we get is the scoops. So we get that as for salsa, but also we really like to get the queso as well. The medium
love the
queso.
queso.
It's very good.
I love queso. I also love guac.
man.
So tell us how you snack.
Yes.
First, how you snack, and then how do you chip and dip? We want to know how you chip and dip.
Yes.
Definitely.
Let us know in the comments. We will pick a random winner, and they will receive a brand new car.
Just kidding. We're poor.
Yeah. Anyway,
We might send you some
You have
salsa.
that face so
Probably
long.
not,
Oh my
though.
goodness.
I tried.
Oh yeah. But
Okay.
anyway, yeah, we love to snack, and since we're in quarantine, I mean, what else are you gonna do except for watch Netflix and snack? So
Yeah.
it better be good.
Nothing.
So, all right, let's get the show started. we watched Jumanji: The Next Level, and we are now going to spoil things.
Enter the spoiler zone. So, spoilers. Here we go.
Here we go. All right, Beth, give us a synopsis.
Okay, so in a nutshell, we have our favorite characters on home for Christmas break. First semester of college is over. They have to enter the world's most dangerous game in order to save one of their own. And they go to Jumanji, but it's different. And so now they have to face new challenges and new levels in order to try to beat the game and get out. So our recap. I will say, I did not realize that this is actually Jumanji 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. Jennifer and I discovered that recently. We talked about it when it was in theaters. But it was also in theaters recently. So we're both right. I got you.
Yeah, I was
a few
looking at
months.
some discussions, and they're classifying it as Jumanji 3 because of the
you go in
original
and
with
you
Robin
think it's just a
Williams.
reboot, but apparently it's not. Well, I guess you don't because it's like they find
It takes place. I'm trying to think of what we could equate it to, but it really does take place. I mean, it's the original story with Robin Williams takes place in that time. And this one
it's a
is
board game.
it's a board game, and this is the continuation in our time. It's not a remake of that original in this time. It's the characters are different, and then we have again, this third one takes place 2 years later. So I am interested to see. We'll talk about this as we get to it, but I'm interested to see if they're going to do a fourth. I feel like they set it up, so you have to watch till the end. But they set
Yes.
up for another one. But
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like they're gonna see how this one does if they can do a fourth. But I really want them to personally.
Oh, these
Well-
new ones have been fantastic. I think they're so funny.
I was going to jump the gun a little bit and say they did really well with their money that they made on
Oh,
it.
did they?
Because they had a budget of $125 million budget. And they made worldwide $796 million.
Well
So
done. Well
Chump
done.
I
change.
think they did okay. So
Yeah.
hopefully we will see the next one there.
Hopefully.
Definitely.
But anyway, so back to you saying it was 2 years in between the second and third one. For some reason, maybe it was just my brain making things up, but I thought they were in their senior year in the first.
They might have been. It's been 2 years since the movie came out,
They
so
all
I was
had a
just more
gap
thinking
year.
the second one. But yeah,
Yeah.
they all had a gap year. We
I
actually,
think it's their first semester of college.
Actually, it is their first.
Yeah.
Actually, I could not remember, I didn't watch the first. It's been a long time since I've seen the first one, and so I was trying to think back, and remember when it was. If it was their senior year, when in their senior year was it towards the beginning? Because if it was towards the beginning, then we were looking at kind of a year and a half-ish, a year and a few months.
Yeah.
They did have cold, winter hats on towards the end of the first one, so winter-ish.
So maybe it was fall-ish time, and we're getting into the coldish. I
Yeah,
don't
they're all
know.
up north though. It's like New Hampshire, New York. It could be winter any
It's probably July. It's probably July.
It's probably July.
They were probably making up school from when they missed in January. It was probably in the summer.
Yeah,
no.
I don't know.
I don't remember. So
Yeah.
So how's it start out?
So we start off with Spencer. He is in New York at NYU, and you can just tell college has been hard. He's a little sad. He seems to be avoiding his friends. We don't know why. They all are agreeing to meet at Nora's when they get back into town, which is a cute little brunch place. I'm all about brunch.
brunch.
Yes.
Yes.
Spencer is kind of avoiding them, but he reluctantly agrees to go join them and meet at Nora's. We see him get home, and his grandpa Eddie, played by Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito, I love your work. Name that quote, folks. Name that quote.
I was waiting for it.
Do you know it? Think hard. What is it,
I
Beth?
don't hear them. Why aren't they telling us?
We can't hear you. Speak louder. Scream.
It's like an episode of Dora the Explorer. What's the quote from? No, that's not it. Yes. Moving on.
Mean
Yeah.
Girls. Mean Girls. One of my favorite movies. All right. I was very excited. All right. Sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was waiting for it. I knew it was coming. So his grandfather has moved in for a little bit because he had a hip replacement, which is quite the situation. They're actually roommates. He's now in Spencer's room, which is really funny. And he's constantly complaining about how getting old is the worst and how much it sucks. And nobody tells you that, but it's true. They all meet at Nora's. So we've got Fridge, Martha, Bethany. They're all there. Spencer doesn't show up. What has happened to Spencer? Well, Spencer was feeling a little sad, needed some extra courage, and thought he would tap into Bravestone's bravery. And he entered Jumanji without them.
He did.
So sad. So they go back to the house to try to find out, like, where's Spencer? And Grandpa Eddie is there arguing with his best friend Milo, and they haven't spoken in years.
15 years.
15 years, a long time. They used to run a restaurant together called Milo's and Eddie's, had a dispute, and have not talked in 15 years. So they were rehashing their argument when the kids come in looking for Spencer. Kids go down to the basement, find out that Spencer, in fact, kept Jumanji, which is crazy. And he went into the game, so they decided to go after him. And who goes into the game? Fridge, Martha, Grandpa Eddie, and Milo.
Bethany gets left.
Poor Bethany is left for no reason.
And they're all in different bodies when they arrive.
Yes, they
which
are
is
not in the
great.
same avatars when they get to Jumanji.
It is so funny.
It
You want to
is.
talk about their new avatars?
So, Fridge, last time he was in Kevin Hart's body, and this time he's in Jack Black, who is Shelley how do you say it?
Oberon?
Oberon?
Oberon? something like that?
It's Oberon. Dr. Shelley.
Dr. Shelley, we'll go with that. Are they all doctors? I don't think so.
Mouse is not.
Yeah, I guess she isn't either.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
Braveheart and Shelley, Bravestone, Braveheart.
Isn't Jack Black's character, isn't he a professor?
Oh,
Is that
he?
his title? Or is
Yes.
it doctor?
Hold on,
Is
let
it,
me look it up.
But I mean, either way, he would be a doctor.
right, but when I'm like,
Professor.
what they call them.
Yeah.
I think it's professor. I can't remember. Whatever.
But
It doesn't
Fridge
matter.
he's now in Jack Black's body, and which is pretty funny. And then I'm thinking straight. Martha is back in Ruby Roundhouse. She got her body
Yes.
back. And then Milo is in Kevin Hart's body. And then Eddie is now in Dr. Bravestone's body. Is that all right? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got, like, picture it, folks, if you haven't seen it. We've got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson acting as if
He's Danny
he's
DeVito.
Danny DeVito. My favorite thing. I just
And
love
my
this.
favorite thing is Kevin Hart playing Milo.
Well, but actually, I think Kevin Hart did a much better job channeling, like, Danny Glover than. I mean, The Rock wasn't bad, but I just
Right.
love, like, the way Kevin Hart just sounded like an old man.
Oh
It was
my goodness, he did
perfect.
so well.
Perfect.
Like
Oh my
anytime he
goodness.
opened his mouth, I just laughed. Like you can ask Jennifer. Like the whole time I watched it, anytime he just had a phrase, I just started laughing before he even finished it, just because it's so funny.
Well, and it really speaks to, you know, some of the versatility of these actors. I mean, we know it because you
yeah.
see them from movie to movie, but
Absolutely.
we actually get to see them in one movie franchise be different characters because, yeah, they're this video character, but they're acting. They have to act like the people. So we've got Jack Black, you know, going from Bethany the girl to Fridge, like, what's going on, man? This is crazy. You know? Like, that was very good. You know, it was enjoyable. So.
Oh my goodness, that's so great, and I love like one of the first things they do is like they're talking about how well their joints are, and they're like testing out their like legs and hips, and they're like, my joints are like butter.
This is excellent.
That's so great. And just to like quick recap, if for some reason you missed the second Jumanji, so this world is a video game. They have to go through multiple levels in order to win, and they have 3 lives. So that's like an important thing to just establish.
They keep looking at their life track here, little 3 bars.
Yep. They all have special skills and weaknesses that they have to keep track of as well.
One of Kevin Hart's character's weaknesses is cake.
Cake.
And I love this.
man.
And the second one is a good moment. And then we're gonna get to. They don't touch on that one hugely. They still look at the strengths and weaknesses, but there's a good little like just nod to the second
Yes.
one later on that we'll talk
Yes.
about.
Oh
so
my goodness.
that was
That's so
good.
funny.
Great.
And just to let you know, it is Professor Shelley Oberon. I'm gonna say Oberon.
Sounds great.
Right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're figuring out who's who because they're all confused, and then they're figuring out. They're trying to explain to the two old guys what's going on because they are so confused, and they tell them they're in a video game like 50 times.
Well, I thought that was great too because, I mean, in the second one, when they all get in the video game, they're kids, they're catching on like pretty quick, like,
Yeah.
you know, not like, okay, we're in a video game, that happens every day. You know, they're still
Yeah.
struggling with that,
Yeah.
but it's able to, but with like the older guys, it's taking them a little longer to get their head
If
wrapped
it
around.
actually did happen, that's what would
It
that's
would.
what would happen.
Well, and
Yeah.
they're not from a generation that plays video games,
Right.
you know, so it's a learning curve, even like how a video game operates, you know. And I know they're not with controllers, but still that mindset of video game, it's just different for them. And so I think they did a really good job. The writing was done really well, where they
Yes.
didn't just like, you know, towards the beginning like, okay, this is what we're doing. It's a few scenes, they're moving to locations and they're still
Yeah.
not quite clicking on
Yeah.
what's happening, you know.
And I liked
So-
how they get one of the who gets close to the hippo.
Mouse.
Yeah,
So
Mouse-
Kevin Hart.
He's close to the hippo, and you're like, if you remember from the first one, he gets eaten by the hippo, and so it's like, oh, here it goes again. And then Dr. Shelley Oberon throws the grapefruit at him, and the hippo is satisfied and goes away. So then you're like, oh, well, crisis diverted. And then he gets eaten by a snake.
Well, and Fridge is, I mean, you could see this one coming because Fridge was like, we know what we're doing. Like, we've seen it, we can handle it.
Yeah.
And then he gets
It
eaten by this
threw
huge
me
snake.
off, though. I was like, oh my gosh, and it was a massive snake.
It was so huge. I was just like, oh.
It made me think of the
Basilisk.
live action of
yes.
Jungle Book.
Oh,
Scarlett
yes.
Johansson playing the
Yes.
snake. Yeah, that's
Oh,
what it made me
the
think
snake
of.
was
So
huge.
it was really big.
Oh my goodness. So the okay, help me out because I never can remember the name of this character, but the guide is a
Nigel.
Yeah, Nigel.
Well, Nigel,
the NPC.
but an NPC.
Yes,
NPC.
non-player character. Yeah.
Thank you. NPC. So the NPC shows up this time in a plane.
Yes. Why is he in a plane?
Because they had to drop them off in the desert. That's what
Yeah.
they did. So.
And I like how they got out of the jungle. It's like the whole subtitle of the first one or the second one is "Welcome to the Jungle," and this one's like they take them to new places.
The next level. They're going out of this little zone to the next place. So.
Yeah. So we find out from our little story synopsis that their villain this time is named Jurgen the Brutal.
Jurgen.
And he has stolen the Falcon Jewel, which is orange this time instead of green.
Got another jewel.
Yes.
And it's orange.
And it's supposed to be in the sun, which gives life to all of Jumanji, and he has taken it away, and now Jumanji is dying. So they've got to get the jewel, show it to the sun, and yell Jumanji.
You've got to save Jumanji. I didn't do a good impression, but there you go.
You can work on it.
Thank you.
What? You want to give it a go, Beth?
No.
Interesting.
I was going to, but not until Beth did it. So, in what way is Jumanji dying? They say it, but they should have had like plants dying and stuff or animals.
They
dying.
did.
They did?
What? The crops died.
I think it was like
missed this.
I think it was talking about a certain area, like some of the plains where like the crops were, and that area was dying, which was the food source for Jumanji.
I must have
And
been
so
getting
it
a
was-
snack or something at that point. Some Chex Mix. Actually, I didn't have Chex, but
Well, and he said they showed it dying for a little bit with when the jewel went away. It was in that whole little montage, and Jurgen the Brutal went and almost whatever tribe of people it was.
The alien.
I don't remember. They were protecting the jewel,
Yeah.
and the elder held it around their neck, and I thought, why would you give this most important jewel to the oldest person in the camp who can't
how
like
heavy
physically?
is that thing?
I know.
It's massive.
And I couldn't tell whether it was a male or female.
I think it was a female.
But I felt so bad for them, and I hope they lived. They didn't show.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I
We
mean,
don't
he is
know.
brutal. Jurgen is, so he might have.
Jurgen the Brutal. They didn't show it, but he probably
I
did.
don't know.
So, Ashley said she felt like it represented how the game was physically broken.
Oh.
You know, because the game was broken because at the end of the first one they
Yeah.
smashed it with a
Good
bowling
point,
ball.
Ashley. Good
Ashley.
point.
So there was some Jumanji was broken. They had
Yeah.
to fix it.
Very nice.
So.
I love, in the first one, they have a letter. Dr. Bravestone gets a letter, which basically is a mission. And Grandpa Eddie is talking about how he doesn't have a letter and he doesn't understand why Nigel keeps asking him about the letter. And then all of a sudden,
I don't have a letter.
Here,
I don't
hold
have
on.
a letter. I don't have a letter.
And the letter appears, and Milo is like, Eddie, you gotta check your hand. Like, always
It's in your hand, Eddie.
It's just a great nod to like getting old and forgetting. And
I was a little sad because I don't think it was the teaser trailer. I think it was the first trailer.
Okay.
There's a part where I recognized as soon as I got on the plane, I was like, this is where that part was. And they're talking about somebody, and they're like, Bethany, or whatever, is that so-and-so's boy? And they did it a little bit in the movie, but it was a longer scene. It was
Yeah.
just like how,
Is that Barbara's boy?
Is that Barbara's boy? Yeah, all that stuff. They didn't do it. I was sad.
maybe it's in the deleted
It's
scenes.
probably in the
Oh, wait,
deleted
they
scenes.
did do that in the...
They did a little piece of it, but that's why I said
Oh,
it
you
was
said
a
it was
longer.
longer in the theater?
Yeah, the
Then-
trailer had a
in
little
the
longer
trailer.
piece.
Oh, in the trailer. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm with you now.
The trailer had a longer little piece of it, and so when it just had like 1 or 2 lines from it, I was like, no, it was
Gotcha.
good. But it was funny. It was still good. So you have that throughout. Like you have even though you're looking at Kevin Hart and The Rock, their attitudes are still definitely the older guys. You know,
Yes.
the mindset, like
Yeah.
having to. And it's just funny. So.
So great.
And apparently Milo has an issues talking fast. He just kind of speaks slow,
Yes.
kind of.
Interesting facts about ostriches. Here's another interesting fact.
Oh, it's so
It's
great.
driving everybody crazy.
Oh, it's so good.
That's funny.
The first-
What is it? What is it?
Yes.
When
So speaking of
provoked, they can
ostriches, the first part is the dunes.
Yes.
So we get to the dunes.
Yeah.
They get dropped from the plane.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved how they did it too. Nigel pulls a lever, and it's like their benches just go, and just dumps them out.
It's like they knew that they weren't leave willingly. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was really funny.
So that's pretty funny. And the reaction to him telling them he's going to drop them out in the dunes was pretty good.
Yeah. The second death was really kind of crazy. So they are in the dunes. It's kind of like a junkyard. They've got a bunch of dune buggies around. And an ostrich comes up, and Eddie, the Rock, is basically telling it to like go on. He's not afraid of an ostrich. We've got Milo, who's over there talking
Interesting fact.
so slow and discovering that he now has all this knowledge about animals that he didn't know before the game. And all of a sudden, the ostrich like pecks the Rock and he explodes.
Yes.
It's so crazy. And then this is such a great
Oh,
line.
it's my favorite line of the whole movie when Milo is just like, hold on, I wrote it down so I wouldn't screw it up, but he's like, did I just kill Eddie by talking too slow? Like he always said I would. It's so funny.
Which I love that because you can just hear like Danny DeVito saying, "You're gonna kill me." As I talk, you can just speak faster, speak faster. That's funny.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Oh man.
That's so great. And so then they're like talking about ostriches and like he's like forgetting an important fact and they're like, what is it? And then like this huge herd of ostriches comes running and he's like, they travel in
They
herds.
travel in herds.
A little too late.
So funny.
But yeah.
So anyway, they giant ostrich chase. They're in their dune buggies and trying to escape, and lots of action stunts as movies provide for entertainment. It was great. At one point, the ostriches ripped the roof off of the dune buggy. That they are all in one now in dune buggy. They had to start out with 2, consolidated into 1 because they crashed one of them. And then 2 ostriches ripped the roof off. Thank goodness, because then they decided to make a jump over a giant cliff to the other side because ostriches can't fly. And I love Eddie saying, "We're gonna make it.
Everybody's
We're
like,
gonna make it.
"We're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it."
He's like, "We're not gonna make it." Dune buggy hits the cliff and thank
Ejects
goodness-
all 4
thank
people, and
goodness
only
the
that.
roof is gone from the
Like,
ostriches
yes.
because I thought about that. I was like, if the roof was there, they would have all died.
Thank you, ostriches.
So,
You really
I
helped.
mean-
They've really saved lives. Ostriches
true.
save lives.
Ostriches save lives.
We need a t-shirt.
T-shirts.
Ostriches save lives. There we go.
Yes.
We'll put it on the merch list, guys.
Okay.
So good. Then they like are teaching Eddie and Milo that they now have like skill sets.
Yes.
And they teach them about their menu where you can touch their chest, bing, and they see all their weaknesses and strengths.
And they have additions from
yes.
the last one.
They do.
Let's see, brave Stone had a new weakness.
He didn't have any weaknesses last time.
Right, no weaknesses last time.
And his new weakness is Switchblade.
Yeah, that's right.
Switchblade.
And you think it means like a switchblade knife, but later you find out it's a person. What? Spoiler! Oh, sorry. And then, okay, what was Kevin Hart's?
Linguistics was a
Yes.
new skill,
He could talk to animals now.
which we didn't know that they didn't know
At
that
first
meant
we
that
didn't know that. They
initially,
just
but
thought languages in general.
he
Yeah.
can talk to animals. So
And then
Which is a pretty cool skill.
Ruby Roundhouse.
I don't know if I would call that linguistics,
No, I wouldn't
definitely
either.
not.
but they
whatever.
did. Whatever, it's fine.
But what was Ruby Roundhouse's edition?
Nunchucks.
Nunchucks,
Yes, nunchucks.
Mm-hmm.
And then Shelley, Professor Shelley.
geometry.
Geometry, yes. Yes. Oh,
Yes, weaknesses
yeah. Jennifer
sun,
mentioned the weaknesses sun and
Sand and something else.
Heat.
sand. And heat, yeah.
Endurance.
Yeah, it's 4, yeah. And it's like, well, good thing we're not in a desert.
Oh, so good.
I love it when Jack Black gets mad. Like that voice he goes into, I just love it. I don't know why.
funny.
It's like in any character he does.
Well, and it was just, the whole time you've got Fridge, who was frustrated in the first one that he was tiny Kevin Hart and that Spencer was The Rock, And now he's like the professor who he does not think is cool and at all useful. He's like, I hold the map. I don't want to hold the map. I don't want to be the guy with the map. So that's ongoing through this.
Yeah, he's always complaining about his avatar.
Which Fridge complained in the first movie about being the map guy and the backpack guy. But then, like, in the second one, or in this one, he's always like, no, I'm the map guy. I'm the backpack guy. He's like that.
I think the professor has the map, but
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
he was complaining about being the backpack guy.
That's right.
in the
Sorry, I mixed
second
it
one.
up. I mixed it up.
And then this one, he's complaining about being the map guy.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
that's right. He's always complaining about something.
Our next location.
Oh, they go to
The-
that town.
It's called
the
the
Oasis.
The Oasis.
The
Yeah.
Oasis.
Sorry, I stole your thunder.
That's
Say it
okay.
again. Well,
It's fine. You got it.
the Oasis.
and
So what
there's
do they do in the Oasis,
There's like a
John?
bad guy den, and they have a clue. Where did they get the clue again? They had the clue before they got in the Oasis, right? The what? Nigel gave
Yeah.
I
them
guess
the
Nigel
clue.
gave him the
Yeah.
clue.
And he said you have to find the fruit of the desert.
Mm-hmm.
Follow the flame to find the fruit of the desert, something like
Follow
that.
the flame, something like that.
Yeah. So they go to the Oasis and they go to this den of bad guys.
And guess who's there? The bad guy they've been looking for the whole time.
Yeah,
We're,
Jurgen the Brutal.
He's
20
right there.
minutes into the movie, they found out. Okay,
That was easy.
there you go.
No, you can go home.
But they're trying to figure out what this clue means, and they find, or the name of the bad guy den. It was like some kind of smoke, something. It had something to do with smoke, because they're like,
So- yeah.
where there's smoke, there's fire.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. Follow the flame.
Yeah. And Eddie runs into some woman who comes up to him, who's like crazy about him, but he doesn't know who she is.
It's an old ex of Bravestone.
Yeah, an old ex of
The
Bravestones,
flame.
and she's
Old
the
flame.
flame, and they followed her in there. Let's see. Then she runs back to the back of the bar where all the bad guys are, because is she Jurgen's wife?
No.
No. But we also have,
Oh,
Yeah.
Switchblade's wife. That's what
Yeah.
it was. That's right.
She leaves.
yeah.
And then they follow her to a different place. And we never find out why she was going to that different place, but they kind of split up.
Yeah.
And,
But first we get
first we've got to do
get
this.
Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer is now
That's right.
comes on scene. He's a new avatar called Ming, played by Aquafina.
It's so funny.
The best.
I love Aquafina. She's my
I love
fave.
the entrance of this character, because she's like, so her skill set is she's good at being a thief, and she's like all these different like thief skills, and she's
Stealthy,
trying to,
stuff like that.
And she's trying to steal. What was it she's stealing?
The key from Jurgen.
Yeah, the key from Jurgen.
Because he's got the stone locked away.
And Jurgen's like, "Stop, thief!" And then Bravestone's like, "Oh," like stops her. What does he say?
He said, he's like, a thief, I'm stopping him, or something like that.
Who's a thief? And has no idea that it's Spencer, his grandson, that he's just now thrown to the wolves.
So funny.
So they reconnect with Spencer, which I was very glad, because I
Yes.
didn't know this was going to happen early on. I really thought the movie was going to be them kind of trying to find Spencer,
Yeah.
but I'm glad they got to bring his
Yeah,
character in
I
earlier.
agree, yeah.
Spencer's
It was
great.
definitely the better choice of the two.
I agree.
So, yeah. So Spencer gets killed. How do they kill him again?
Was it? Oh, it was that axe, right? From their
Yeah,
Day.
because he got caught stealing
Yeah.
So they kill him because of that, but I just don't remember how.
Before that, I noticed continuity error in shots in this scene. And it was before
Do tell.
Spencer goes to steal the key. Before that happens, they walk around the corner to where all the bad guys are, and they're playing like axe throwing against this target. And they throw 3 of them, and this guy walks up to the board and takes 2 of them off. I don't know why he didn't take the third. Turns around and then does the next shot. And there's 3 axes on the board in different places. And I was like, wait, what? Wait, what?
They struggled
Ooh.
with that editing.
They did.
Look at those detail
I know,
catches.
I
Well
know.
done.
It doesn't happen often.
And because of that, Jumanji was not saved.
And that's part of Jumanji dying. It was a glitch in the game. That's how they wrote in a glitch. I see what they did there.
They can excuse all of that by saying he crushed the game with the bowling ball. Of course weird things are going to happen. What do you expect? That was genius, guys.
Well done,
They did it
Jumanji.
on
I see what
purpose.
you did there.
That's so funny.
Okay.
So they split up into 2 groups. We've got Fridge and Martha who go after the berry.
Before we do that, real quick, when they
Okay.
reconnect with Spencer, they show his skill set, or Ming's skill set, and it's all the stealthy things, and the one weakness, pollen. I was like,
yeah.
relatable. Oh my goodness,
So
it was
true.
so funny. Because he said, because Spencer has to have an inhaler anyway. He's got all of these, the kind of stealthy little things, and then his weakness is pollen. He's like, so basically, I'm who I am. Like he was like, the person is exactly the
Me in real life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway,
Oh my goodness. So we've got Martha and Fridge. So Dr. Shelley and Ruby Roundhouse are going after the berry. And then we've got Milo, Spencer, and Eddie, Grandpa Eddie, who are going to go get the camel so that they can ride off and escape.
so Bravestone, Mouse, and Ming.
Yes.
Ming.
Yes.
So I guess we can start with the berry. So they go to get the berry.
They follow the flame,
Yes.
Yeah.
which I love that they find out that his old flame's husband is Switchblade.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I was about to say Switchfoot, and that's a different thing. Anyway, the Switchblade. But she's the NPC character as well,
Yeah.
and so she can only have like the set lines, and so the end of her lines end up with her like kissing Bravestone, and Eddie's like, whoa, and somebody says something, and she has to do that exact line. She does it, and he said, "Can you say that one more time?"
I think you need to explain it one more time.
Explain it one more time. He was enjoying the kisses.
He
So
was. Yeah,
he
I like that
was.
part too.
He
So-
was.
So anyway, they break up. Sorry.
So Ruby Roundhouse gets to show off her skills because we've got a tree that's in this middle of water. It kind of looks like it's electric water.
I was
There's-
convinced there were eels in this
I
water.
thought so too because it's like electricity's running through it. And
It
little
looked like little-
shocks. Yeah.
And like eel type animals in there, but
Yeah.
anyway.
So she easily gets to the berry, no problem. Picks it and falls into the water because apparently the berry is extremely heavy. And so Fridge goes to help her out, and they switch avatars, which is crazy.
When they're both in the water and they grab hands,
Yes.
they switched avatars,
Yes.
which I thought was weird at that time.
I wanted to explore the physics of that. Of like, did they have to both be in the water and touch, or could one be in the water and then they touch the one in the water?
They made a point
Yeah.
to show
Both in the water.
Oberon's leg. I was trying to think of the character name. I keep
Yeah.
wanting to say Fridge or like Jack Black, and I'm like, I need to use his character's name. They show Oberon's leg in the water. They made a point to like
Yeah.
show that, and so I feel like you both have to be in the water.
Yeah.
And by what happens later, which we'll talk about, they kept that continuity that everybody has to be in the water with it.
Okay.
But I definitely thought it was like water with eels, and she falls in, and you think she's going to die because of that,
Yes.
or be electrocuted, but she's not. And when you think about it, that green thing is the same green that comes out of the game and sucks them in.
True.
Oh.
Game
It's the-
magic.
It's in water,
good
so it's
catch.
different, but it's the same
Nice.
thing.
It is.
Which
that bring-
makes them the avatars.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's true. Well done.
So I noticed that. I was
Yeah.
like, later on, when the next thing happens, but I was like, that's the same thing. So anyway,
I enjoyed, again, this just shows how good these actors are because now Ruby Roundhouse
Is Fridge.
Is Fridge. And Martha is now Dr. Shelley Oberon. And so it was just great to see them reacting to these new characters and these bodies.
Yeah.
which is new for Martha because she's always been Ruby. Like she's never not been Ruby.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But Fridge is very excited
To have an athletic
to have an
character.
athletic character, and he keeps. I was convinced he was going to like fall and break his neck or something.
Oh, I know.
Because he kept doing stuff, and she's like, "Be careful! You need to be careful in that body. Be careful in
Yeah.
my body."
That body is a weapon.
Yeah, he's a weapon.
But thankfully he didn't. He just did some stupid stuff and fell in the water. So then they.
And
switched
she
back.
reaches in, and they make a point to show
Yeah, she's in the
Oberon's
water.
leg in the water again, and they switch back.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but it was a good like brief moment of just
Mm-hmm.
seeing them do something different.
And then seeing her act as Fridge, like, come on, man. Or just weird seeing her
Yeah.
do that. What's her name? The actress's name? Something.
Karen
Karen.
Gillan.
Karen Gillan. That was Gillan's. So
I love her.
she did so well.
Yeah.
She did good.
So then we switch over to the camels. You've got Ming, who's like sweating because it's Spencer and he's just a nervous person and he's like freaking out about picking the locks. They discover here that Milo can talk to the camels, and so Milo asks the camels to help them, give him a ride and stuff. And then meanwhile, Grandpa Eddie is discovering that he's really strong.
Supposed to be keeping an eye out and keeping a low profile, not being noticed. And he literally kills like 50 people in about 5
and
minutes.
he's when he starts it, he's like, nothing to see here, keep moving along. Like, excuse me? Nothing to see here, keep moving along. Excuse me?
But he's loving his power. He can
yeah.
punch people,
Yeah, so they kind of get in a mess. They all have to escape. Then they find out that those people that he beat up were Switchblade.
Switchblade shows up.
Yes.
And you're like, that's his one weakness. The husband of the woman he loves. So there you go. So they escape on camel, meet up with Oberon and Ruby Roundhouse. And I love this next part because
It's great.
Eddie as Bravestone's like, I can take him. I can take him. I know I can. I've just beat up like 50 people. It's like, I can take him. They're kind of on the outskirts of the town.
Yeah.
It's like, I can take him. And you see this thing launch in the background. And it's, what is that thing? Bazooka or whatever.
Yeah.
And boom, they all blow up and die. They've all lost a
And then one
life.
by one, it's like, ding, 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 just falling out of the sky.
And Switchblade cheers and they all go back into the city because Switchblade launched it and took care of him. So that was his one weakness.
Was it Milo that was like, why do people keep falling from the sky?
That's so good. Oh my goodness. So then I thought this was interesting because I went back and watched it a second time just to make sure. But the next challenge is for them to go across these swinging bridges, and they don't actually give this a name. So we had the dunes, which was a pretty short challenge, but a challenge. Then we had the oasis, which they had, like 2 things they overcame. But we are still apparently in the oasis because we do not hit the 3rd challenge until the other side of the bridges.
That's interesting because Oberon's keeping track of the map, and the map appears. The next thing appears once you're done with the next.
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't see everything at once, and they never show that. They never show the bridge with the monkeys. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Good point.
So it's a part of the oasis.
I guess, yeah.
Very different. Interesting.
So this is Shelly's moment to shine. He has a new skill he can use.
Geometry.
Oh, yeah.
the rope bridges make. He's like, that's a trapezoid. Go to the rubric.
Go to the obtuse angle.
Oh, this was great. So they're like hopping around on these bridges, and then all of a sudden, mandrills, right? That's what they're called. They're
Is that what
scary
they're called? Yeah,
monkeys. I'm pretty sure they're called mandrills.
And we get mouses like as they start running because they think they're gonna have time. They've got to do it fast. They got to try and get across the
Yeah,
other
there
side.
they are. Mandrills.
Mandrills. And
2 L's.
he's like, he keeps talking. I believe those are mandrills, and they're like running, and he's still in his little voice, often confused with the baboon. And you keep getting these little facts about it. And it's
Known
like,
for their bright-colored faces and behinds.
and everybody's like freaking out, running, trying to get across. So we should pause here before we get to the end of this and go back to Bethany.
Yes.
At one point, we're like towards the end of a scene, I think, and I looked at Ashley, we were watching it, and I was like, what is happening with Bethany?
Yeah.
0.5 seconds later, it shows Bethany.
Well, let me show you.
0.5 seconds later, they said, I wonder where Bethany is, and it cuts to Bethany. I was like, I wondered, and I got my answer. They were wondering with
Jumanji
me.
heard
Thank
you.
you. Jumanji heard my cry. So that might have not happened for you all. It might have just been because I asked for it, but I hope we saw the same thing.
Well, I appreciate you using
I'm
your
hearing
powers.
comments from someone in the.
What'd she say?
I don't know. Just keep going. What'd you
Side-
say? She said,
She says
okay.
Side note, completely unrelated to the movie, but I had a moment like this week where I was waiting for the pool pump guy to call me and tell me that he was coming to fix the pool pump. And I literally in the car said, oh my gosh, this guy has not called me in 2 days, and he's supposed to call me. I'm going to call them right now. And as soon as I pulled up on my phone, he's calling me. And I was like, oh! Jennifer was my witness. It really
Jumanji.
happened. Jumanji was calling.
Jumanji. Every time something like that happens, we're going to say, Jumanji.
Jumanji.
Yes. Oh my
I think
goodness.
the drums happen. So
Great.
So Bethany is, we cut to her at some point during this first half. She's in the basement, looking around, looking at the game, trying to figure out what to do. And we see her leave, and then it cuts back to her later on, and she's gone to, what's his name?
Alex.
Yeah.
Alex, who was the character played by Nick Jonas that they found
Seaplane.
last time, who was stuck in there for years. So she's gone to his house, and I remember he named his daughter Bethany, and she answers the door, and she's, and they had that was neat. I thought that was special.
Fun fact that I read on the interwebs is that both actresses that play the two Bethanys both have the first name of Madison.
There you go.
It's like mind blown.
Wow.
Whoa.
They really do have the same first name.
So how about that?
That's pretty cool. So she is trying to convince Alex to help her out, to maybe go back in the game and help out. So that's where we leave Bethany at this point.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get there
Yeah,
before we
no,
get
that
there.
was,
So.
that was good. They're racing across, being attacked by mandrills. Martha falls to her death, which is so sad. So Ruby Brownhouse comes back, has burnt up her second life.
They all lost
A life with a
a life with the boom,
bazooka.
with the bazooka.
Yeah.
So we've got Bravestone at
With
one
ostrich.
life,
Yeah.
because he had the ostrich and the bazooka. We've got Mouse at
one life.
we missed a part with the camels.
Oh.
After they're riding with the camels.
Yeah.
This is before they get to the monkey bridge,
True.
when they're riding away on the camels.
Oh,
Eddie and
yeah.
Milo get in a fight. They're talking about what happened, and we find out that Milo wanted to retire from the restaurant business, and it forced Eddie to quit. And Eddie's been bitter about it for forever. And so they talk about they're going to fight, and Milo goes, "What you don't know is that for the past 15 years I've been taking Tai Chi." But you've got Kevin Hart gonna fight The Rock,
Rock.
and it doesn't go well, and Milo loses a life here. Okay, and the whole
The
time,
Rock throws him like forever across the desert. He hits a rock, survives.
and then The Rock falls on him. But the whole time, Professor Oberon's on the camel going, "Milo wouldn't do that. Milo wouldn't do it. Don't do it, Milo. Don't do it." So unnecessary life loss. So that was his. That was his second, because his first was the bazooka. So he's down to one life. Ruby has the bazooka, then she falls, so she's down to one life. And then Aquafina was killed, or Ming, sorry, was killed by
The axe.
what's his name again?
Jurgen.
Jurgen.
Yeah.
Jurgen the Brutal.
The brutal.
Yeah.
And then the bazooka. So everybody here, our 5 people right now, are down to their last life.
Last one.
Their last one. So I just
Free
wanna-
monkey bridge.
No.
No.
Oh,
Ruby-
Ruby
Sorry.
loses. Ruby's at 2, and she loses her second one in the monkey bridge.
That's right. That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's the only one. Everybody else was down to one
Post
life.
monkey bridge.
Yeah. So, and then the only other catastrophe we have on this is Dr. Shelley sprains his ankle.
Oh yeah.
Bad. It jumps off from one to the and it was funny too, because we were talking. Ashley and I were talking. Something happened, and I don't know if we thought somebody might have like jumped off. I was like, that might have hurt them. And Ashley was like, well, can they like hurt their ankles or sprain their ankles as the characters in the video game? Like 5 minutes later, this happened. She was like, well, I guess they can.
Did y'all watch it in theaters? Mm-mm. So it was your first time watching it? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, how did you know all this? That's pretty awesome that y'all are calling all that.
I'm telling you, there were a lot of those moments, and I'll talk about this later. But I felt like I could call some things on this movie, or things that I would think this doesn't make sense. They answer it, so which I appreciated about that. It was natural things that, like other movies, I would think, and then we would be sitting here and I'd be telling you how mad I was. They didn't address this, but they
Yeah.
address it. Like they take care of it. I was like,
Gotcha.
that's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
And it was nice of them to do it as you thought about it.
Yes.
So.
I felt like it was pretty, it was very considerate of them.
It really
I appreciate
was.
it.
Well done,
Good
writers.
writing,
Send them a
yeah.
Chick-fil-A gift card. So.
Oh, man. So they make it to the other side of the bridge.
Yes.
Who shows up?
Oh, that's when they meet Alex and Bethany. I mean, yeah. Alex
Seaplane.
and Bethany. Seaplane and,
The
Sebastian,
horse.
right? Was that the horse's
Cyclone.
name? Cyclone.
Cyclone.
Weird name for a horse.
It's close.
It's close. But this is something else. I had, as soon as they're like going through this thing, I'm like, so what, why are they trying to get to the, I mean, now they're trying to get the other side, but they're not going to get to the other side and the monkeys are going to stop. The monkeys can get to the other side.
Yeah.
And I was like, if the monkeys just stop, I'm going to be really mad. And they didn't. They addressed it. I was like, yes. But the horse comes up and they scare the monkeys off that way.
Yeah.
With Alex, with Joe Jonas's character,
Seaplane.
Seaplane. And, or Nick Jonas. I'm glad we have Nick Jonas back in it. I was very
Yeah,
excited.
that's
Yes.
right.
And
He's the youngest one, right? of
he's the
brothers.
youngest one of the brothers. So we've got him, and Bethany is now a black horse, which is
Majestic.
funny. But we have Kevin Hart, Mouse, who is
talk to animals.
can talk to animals, so we can interpret. How convenient!
Oh, yes.
That was
So
funny.
great. So they're all kind of like reconnecting stuff, and then they find a body of water that is
Yeah.
also electrical looking, and they realize Mouse is basically saying everyone, like, we need to switch people up because you are a terrible bravestone. You're like he's saying nobody's like great other than like Ruby Roundhouse.
Well, its Fridge is right before this is just really frustrated.
Yeah.
Because they don't
Using
feel like
their
they're
skills.
getting any place
Right.
because Eddie doesn't know how to,
Yeah.
be Bravestone appropriately, and they keep
Worst Bravestone of all time.
worst Brave. And I love because one of Bravestone's strengths is the smoldering intensity.
And he does it at the wrong time.
And he does it at the wrong. He always does a smoldering intensity, just like at regular like parts. They're like, no, that's
Grandpa,
not how you
that's
do
not
that.
when you-
That's
never
not.
mind.
My favorite is the first time he does it, and he doesn't know this is a skill set. Milo looks at him, and he's like, "Oh my goodness, call a doctor! The whole left side of his face is
It's paralyzed. I think it's having a heart attack.
And then Martha's like entranced by it. She's like, oh, no, old man.
Old man, old man. Because that was one of the things that like pulled Martha even closer to
Yeah.
Spencer the
Yeah.
first
Old
time,
man.
and it was just it's funny. She goes, "Oh no, old man, old man."
So,
So Fridge as Shelley is like really mad about all this,
Yeah.
then falls backward, and
they find the water.
they find the water.
So we have like a switch out that happens. So we have our original 4 characters back in their original avatars.
Did you catch the song they played when they all jumped in the water together? "Welcome to the Jungle."
Oh.
Yes.
It was very good.
catch
It was
that.
very good.
Even though
And
it was ice. But it was back to the jungle.
Yes.
I'm with you.
anyway,
Excuse my brain.
it was a good. I thought this was a really neat moment, but I also just the transition that takes here in the movie when everybody kind of gets to the like characters that they're used to.
Yeah.
I think it's neat because Fridge is complaining about, and they're all kind of complaining about their characters in the second movie, and then they kind of get into it towards the end. Then they come back, and Fridge is complaining about like this character that he's in now as Professor, but he realizes he misses being Mouse so
Yeah.
much, and so they kind of click in their
I
character.
love Bethany's hand. That sprained ankle isn't that bad. You made it feel like such a big
They're like,
big
this
deal
is,
about
he's
this.
like, how's your ankle? He's like, it's not that bad.
She's like, which one was
And then
it?
they kind of like trail up to it, and you just hear in the background, which ankle was it? That was hilarious.
So good.
That was funny.
So good.
That was
And
really
then,
funny.
Nice
Yeah,
touch.
so we put Grandpa Eddie into Ming. So
Which
Oh, she did so
Aquafina
good.
channeling Danny DeVito. I was like,
Oh, man.
Queen! Oh my gosh, she was so
I love the way she
good.
like kind of hunched her
hunched
shoulder.
over. Yes.
What?
Yes. What? Just she would say things, and I could hear Danny DeVito
Yeah.
say it or feel like, I mean, it was like,
Absolutely.
it was Danny DeVito coming out of her. I was so good. So good. And then Milo's the horse.
Yes.
Right before this, before they jump in the water, we kind of have the moment where Milo and Eddie talk and kind of get to a place of reconciliation. But we find out Milo's reaching out to Eddie because and he mentioned his wife passed away a few years ago, and he's sick and he doesn't have long to live.
Yeah.
And so they kind of make up in that moment.
Yeah.
So,
They do.
and then they
So
switch
sweet.
back, and so it was it was good. It was good. The switch, getting everybody kind of back into their characters was good. So.
Yeah. Let's see. Milo gets kidnapped. Eddie finds him getting kidnapped and also gets kidnapped with him. So then the remaining crew, which is our original crew, has to go after him. And they decide to split up.
I love when they get Milo because they're kind of in a cave warming up, and Milo's a horse, so he's outside. So Eddie's like, I'm gonna go check on Milo, and goes out, and the guys have kind of got around. And he goes, hey, get away from that horse.
It's like he takes a pause, like, should I intervene? Hey, get away from that
I'm like,
horse.
hide, run. These are the bad guys. Just tell them, get away from that horse. That was hilarious.
Oh, man.
That was
So
funny.
great.
Anyway,
So they're captured, taken to the fortress
Yes.
up in the snow.
Third level, the fortress.
Yes.
It has a name.
Okay, yes, yeah. And so they all go, and they just kind of, didn't they just like pile in with the caravan that was walking in of the
So
people?
you have Martha, Ruby Roundhouse, and Bravestone, which is now Spencer again. They have ice climbing equipment.
so they
Oh, that's
ask,
right,
they
that's
ask
right.
Mouse. They're like, and Fridge. They're like, do you happen to have any like ice climbing equipment in your backpack? And he's like, with this? And it's a bag that says ice climbing equipment. It's
That'll
like
do
perfect.
it.
And he loved having it too. He loved being the
Like,
backpack guy.
the backpack guy.
That's what he said.
That was so great. So they go do that, and then we've got Seaplane, Dr. Shelley, and Mouse who go and try to get Milo the horse.
Because they're separated
Yeah.
on different sides of the fortress, and
Yeah.
so Bravestone and Ruby are going on one side to try and get Grandpa Eddie, get Ming.
Yeah.
But we heard early on when we saw, what's the guy's name? Jürgen?
Jürgen.
Jürgen. I can never remember his
It's
name.
spelled with a J, but it's
Jürgen.
Jürgen.
Yeah.
Jürgen.
It's
with a
Jürgen.
Y,
But I'm going to say
yeah.
Jürgen just because it helped me remember. So Jürgen, no. Jürgen the Brutal says something when they see him the first time about going to the fortress and meeting up with the brothers of Kebab.
Kababik.
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 I can't remember.
Kababik brothers.
The Kababik brothers are going to meet up. And you don't know, but you're just like, we're going to meet up with the brothers of Kababik, whatever it is. You're going to meet up with them. So when we've got Seaplane and Professor Shelley and Mouse like filing in, they, like Seaplane gets in, they're filing in just the fortress, the front doors of the fortress, no big deal.
Walking in.
And one of the guards is like, hey, are you two looking at Professor Shelley? And Mouse is like, are you two the brothers of Kababik? And they're like, are we brothers? And they kind of like look, and it's like, yes, yeah.
We had different dads.
Okay,
But yeah, we are them.
We're
That is
brothers.
us. That is who we are.
Because we've got, and I forgot how much I love hearing Jack Black
Play Bethany.
play Bethany.
Oh,
Like as soon
yes.
as he started talking, as they switched back with Bethany, I was like, I've missed this so much.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, it was just perfect. So
So great.
So now they're the
man.
brothers of Kababik, like they're impersonating.
One of the great moments of Bethany before they actually decide to split up and people get kidnapped, they're like going into the fortress to do things, and they all kind of have like a group huddle, and Jack Black starts doing be aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
Be aggressive. Like everybody, put your hands in. Ready? Be aggressive.
And everybody else is just staring at him.
Fridge was like, "This is not what I thought was gonna happen."
But it was so great just to see him like snap into cheerleader mode.
He was in it.
Oh,
great.
so
He's in it.
good. So we have the brothers Kababik. They have now entered the fortress. They run up to Jürgen.
Well, they get separated from Seaplane because
Yeah.
the brothers, they've been waiting for Jürgen the Brutal has been waiting for the brothers of Kababik. So they get escorted in towards the Great Hall. So Seaplane's on his own to try and get the horse, to get Milo.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and then we have Spencer and Martha climbing the ice wall, whatever that's on. And then they have a moment while they're climbing where they kind of reconcile with each other, and we find out Spencer kind of ended things with Martha because he kept seeing all these pictures of her living a new life, and she just kept thinking about him because she thought these people didn't know her and all that stuff. And so they kind of make up climbing the ice wall, whatever, love. So anyway.
And back to Seaplane rescuing Cyclone, right? Yeah. That drove me crazy because he loses two lives doing this. He's walking on the stones. Why, like after the first one, when you realize it was a booby trap, why not take like a stick and hit the stones instead of like you could take time to go find a stick. It just bothered me.
Yeah, for the second one, he's like, okay, don't step on the raised ones. Okay.
And then it was just a different.
It was just a
stone.
different one. It was just weird. So
Yeah.
he made it through, but it was all chance and luck.
Yeah, it really was.
All chance and luck.
Ridiculous.
So he's trying to get to the horse who's in a cage, and this whole room towards the cage is just
booby trapped.
booby trapped. So anyway,
I love when he like finally gets to Milo slash Cyclone, and hugs him, and we realize Cyclone has powers.
so this little thing pops up, but you don't see what it was. And I looked at Ashley and I said, "That horse can fly."
Yeah.
You
I
called
said,
that one too?
I did.
Yeah.
I said that
Nice.
horse can fly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That horse can fly. Didn't I? See? I said that horse can fly. Like, watch it. So anyway, I was proud of myself for that one.
Well done.
So,
Martha and Spencer make it to the dungeon, break out Uncle or Grandpa Eddie.
and they got the key. How did they get the key? Oh, Ming grabbed the key coming in.
Because he's a pickpocket.
Because he's a pickpocket
Yeah.
coming in. So he had him in, so they break him out of the prison, and they go to where the box is, where they keep the jewel.
I love, because they rescue Uncle, or Grandpa Eddie, I don't know why I keep saying Uncle, but Grandpa Eddie, and they're like, now we have to find the jewel. You haven't seen anything, like a treasure, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh yeah, there's this thing, and he has like, it's 3 feet of blah, 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 and he like has all the things. He's like, there's only one entrance.
Yeah.
He just happened to notice, I guess. It was great.
Yeah.
So it was neat to see Ming have to embrace their skill set here,
Yes.
to trying to get the. And they break open the box, and what's happened?
There's nothing.
There's nothing there. They've already taken the jewel. So they make haste to a different place. And we see the new brothers of Kababek going up an elevator.
They never can get their name right. They were like, yeah, we're the Kadabra brothers.
Yeah.
I love that there's an elevator. I was
Like
thinking about that. I was like,
castle-like.
okay.
There's
Yeah,
some
there's
funny
all that.
exchange on the elevator where they're like, "Which brother's which?" Somebody goes, "Which brother's which?" And Jack Black or Professor Shelley / Bethany is like, "Yeah, I'm this one, and he's that one." And like, "Oh, so you're the intelligent one?" Yes, that's me. And then it looks like you have an
must be
arm
the
like,
eunuch.
and you must be the eunuch. And it's like, what?
He did not want to play along with
He
that.
did not. But Jack Black's like, that was funny. So, and this is one of my favorite parts of the movie. They get off the elevator, and there's kind of like a receiving party there, and there's a woman that says, it says, "Welcome, cake."
Oh, yeah.
And Mouse goes,
No!
no, and like tosses it and throws it, and the woman's like, and Jack Black walks by and goes, "No, thank you." That was a great part. That was a great part. That was a
It's
great
just such
part.
an overreaction. It was so great.
It was wonderful. No,
Yeah.
thank you. So.
So Jurgen believes them for a hot minute and then asks where their sister is.
Because apparently the whole reason they're meeting up is to give him their sister in marriage. She's going to
Yeah.
marry their sister, and they're like, "Which sister? Which one? Which one is that?" Trying to stalk. So they just going along with it.
Yeah.
And then somebody comes up.
Ruby. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say the guy like comes with a scroll with a message. Who's like the brothers of.
Well, first
am I
Ruby.
jumping ahead?
Yeah, Ruby
Oh,
shows
my
up,
bad.
and she's like, "I'm their sister."
Oh, that's right.
And
that's right. I forgot the
and so
order
they're
of things.
Yeah.
Ruby makes it in. They're kind of pretending that she's the sister, and she's getting really close to the jewel. And she's like, "Can I touch it first?" That's the exchange. They get the jewel,
Yeah.
and he gets her. And then the little announcer guy, who was the dad off of that show we watched about the kid who was paralyzed and had. Do you remember Use That Laser?
Oh,
yeah.
What was that show called?
Speechless.
Speechless.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
He was the dad,
Oh,
the little
yeah.
guy with the scroll that
You're
announced
right.
stuff.
Oh.
I was like, that's the dad from that show.
Nice.
He's been something
I
else,
did
but I
not
can't remember
catch
what it
that.
is. So.
That was a good show. I
He
like
was
that
also.
show.
Do you remember
Didn't they
Santa?
cancel it after like one
Yes,
season?
they did.
It was so good.
I don't remember. Do you remember the Santa Claus 3, where Tim Allen gets sucked back into his old life for a hot minute because Jack Frost has, tricked him into saying, "I wish I'd never been Santa," with a snow globe. And he's in it's a Christmas Eve, and he's in he's at the office, and he's trying to figure out where his family is. His assistant is also played by that guy. I know that's
Oh,
really random,
okay.
but there you go. So he's been in those movies. So
Yeah.
there you go. Just a little
Wonderful
connection.
brain of yours. Is,
The weird connections. All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know that actor's name, but he got a big shout out on this podcast right now.
yes. So
anyway,
we now know that the brothers of Kababik are not the brothers of Kababik.
they said they'd been delayed somewhere,
Yeah.
and so they're mad.
So they're gonna kill him off.
And then there's like that's
And
when the
then
fight scene starts?
Ruby says, "But what I didn't tell you is that I have a boyfriend."
Oh,
and
that's right. And then Braystone pops in,
Yeah.
cracking heads.
And he goes up to kind of punch Jurgen, and we realize, even though his weakness didn't say this, his strength is not really a match for Jurgen the Brutal. And so Jurgen kind of busts him, and he kind of lands on his side, and he's got, the cargo pants, and there's some purple stuff, and we remember that fruit they picked, he still got it, it's in his pocket. It was kind of, it got cracked open, he pulls it out, and we see Jurgen like look weary and then back away. And so he escapes, and the fighting starts, which is wonderful.
When The Rock gets right up to him, Jennifer's like, how do you find somebody who's bigger than The Rock? My answer was Russia, but I looked it up. He's actually from Scotland. So.
He is, and this is a big guy. He is a big
he's
guy.
huge.
But I've seen him in some other stuff, and so I wonder if they made him look a little bigger in that moment too. I think they probably
And I looked
did.
up both of their heights. He's 6'6", and The Rock is 6'5".
So yeah, I think they made him look a little bigger.
Yeah,
for
because that was
one.
definitely more than an inch.
Yeah. And I've seen, like I said, I've seen him in some other stuff, and so he's not been. He's always large, but he's not quite that large. So anyway, it's a good moment here. So.
He escapes from the blimp.
Well, we see him getting on the blimp, but the fighting's happening. Kind of everybody's in there for the fighting, and one of my favorite pieces with Bravestone's able to kind of go after him.
Yes.
But one of my favorite parts of the fight is we get to see Ruby grab her nunchuck. She's like, nunchucks, and grabs her nunchucks. But she's beating everybody up, and I think Professor Shelley like gets one person, and it's kind of the last one, and they both kind of land, and he looks over at Ruby and goes, "We did it."
It was so
the
genuine.
best.
Just like, we did it.
Just Jack Black playing that character. I was like, I had so much. For him and for Kevin Hart, the two of those, I think, get the MVP awards for acting on this one. And Awkwafina, because of how they were able to channel like those different,
Definitely.
just embrace those other actors really well. I thought was great. I thought it was great.
I loved, during the fight scene, like, Mouse pulls out of his backpack this giant stereo system and hits play, and so we get to see Ruby Roundhouse do her dance fighting with her nunchucks.
The same song from the first one.
Yeah, that was really good.
The second one.
So great. So Bravestone is he climbed up the rope for the blimp.
Okay, and as soon as I saw the blimp, I looked at Ashley. I was like, if they have a rope hanging off this blimp, because why? I didn't.
Is this true, Ashley?
I'm telling you.
She said yes.
But they all of these blimps, whenever someone's gonna, they always have a rope hanging, and I'm like,
They do.
You wouldn't do that. You would pull.
needs a
I know it's to
rope?
tie it down, but you got to pull that rope up, or it's gonna get caught on something.
Like
and
a tree.
It's so convenient for these people to just hop on and climb up, and sure enough, he grabs the rope.
Blimp safety 101. Grab your rope.
But I'm like, I was also a little amazed at this level of technology.
I know.
From
Well, hey, they got
Jurgen the
elevators,
Brutal.
so.
I guess they had an elevator and they had a plane, so we're kind of mixing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Depends on what part of Jumanji
Jumanji.
you're on, but anyway.
Yeah.
So Jurgen's on his blimp, and everybody kind of comes outside and kind of sees what's happening, but we see Bravestone make it into the blimp, and he's still got the Jumanji fruit in his pocket.
Yeah,
So.
they fight, and Spencer makes a good call without even knowing anything. He just takes the fruit and shoves it onto Jurgen, which triggers Jurgen's menu, and we see that is one of his only weakness.
Jumanji fruit.
Yeah.
So he kind
Jumanji
of like
berry. That's what
Jumanji
it's
berry.
called.
Can't remember,
Jumanji berry.
Jumanji berry.
So he loses all of his power, and the Rock's able to defeat him and get the Falcon Jewel.
Which was really easy.
It was so easy.
And Ashley says, that was a little anticlimactic. And I was like, it kind of was. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it worked out well, but
Yeah.
then we have a really good moment
That's-
where we get to see Ming, a.k.a. Eddie, riding Milo's Cyclops horse. And they are able to...
They are like running towards the edge of the fortress, and Eddie is freaking out.
It's like, what? And then wings. And that's when we find out...
Milo
flew.
takes off. Yeah.
Milo takes off.
Would you call it a flying horse or a Pegasus?
I thought they looked exactly like a thestral. Sorry, without the skeletal part.
okay.
I was like, that looks like a thestral,
Free Thestral.
but you could see it.
Who knows? Yeah,
Well, they all died, and they all
They've
saw
all
each
seen
other
each
die.
other. So maybe, who knows?
that's true.
Game's broken.
Who
There you go.
knows? But
Oh,
oh, good.
No, no.
Go ahead.
No.
I was just thinking about like the Pegasus and flying horse. Go right ahead.
but they fly towards Bravestone. You think they're going to stay at Bravestone, but Bravestone has the gem and is like, no, take this, and flings it to him. Which I was like, please don't drop this.
Right.
And this is the second time I've seen it, but both times I was like, oh no, please catch it. But they caught it, and they had to show it to the sun, so they had to fly really high above the clouds. Show
Because
it to the
it's
sun.
snowy here. It's
Right,
snowy,
yeah,
clouded.
it's snowing, so they had to go really high above the clouds.
Because that was their task this whole time that Nigel tells them, is they've got to show the stone to the sun and then, say
Jumanji's
yell out its name.
Yeah,
So-
yell out its name. So then they're all yelling it out. And then they all yell it, and it's funny because
Say
Eddie's
Jumanji,
like,
say Jumanji.
what? Jumanji?
It was perfect. What?
Yeah.
That was good.
So then they saved the day.
They saved the
Jumanji.
day. And then they're getting ready to go back home to real life. And sweet little Milo decides to stay.
I had guessed that one of the old men was going to die in the game, or like would sacrifice himself for the other one. Especially when they were all getting down to one life, I was like, they're getting down to one life pretty early on, in my opinion. So I was glad I was wrong with that one because it wasn't as. I thought it was much better. And Milo is.
And the great thing about this is Cyclone hasn't lost any lives. So
He's
he
got
has
3 lives.
3 lives to live in Jumanji.
And as long as you stay in Jumanji, you pretty much live forever because your normal life pauses, which we see in Alex in the first one. Because when he comes back out of the game, he's back 20 whatever years it is. So time does not pass when you're in the
Right.
game.
So Milo gets to live, which is good because he was going to die, outside the game. So, and then we just have a sweet moment between Milo and Eddie, and which I really thought it was neat that Milo starts off in Kevin Hart's body, in Mouse's character, and then goes to the horse because Mouse is the one that can interpret the horse. So when they're talking, it's kind of a conversation between Ming and the horse, but it's really between Ming and Kevin Hart vocalizing it. So it felt like you were still talking to Milo because he had been that character. I was like, I don't know if they thought through that or it just worked out really
I didn't
well.
think about that.
But I
That's,
just, I like that because the
clever.
horse doesn't talk. Like, you don't get to hear him saying these things. But because it's being vocalized by someone who he was, you still, it's like you're hearing. I thought it was a little more personal there. I liked that. I thought it was neat.
That's good.
So,
And then we wrap up the movie. They're at Nora's. And Grandpa Eddie finally makes it back to his restaurant 15 years after he has been forced to retire.
yeah, they had to sell the restaurant and they changed the name. So the person who bought it, Nora. So I love when he comes in to Nora's and he's sitting and he's talking to Nora. And Nora's like, "This is just so hard, I've lost one of my managers or something." He's like, "Do you need any help?" And she's like, "Yeah, would you be willing to do that?" And he said, yeah. And she said, "It's really good to see you." And he goes, "Likewise," with
the
smoldering
smoldering-
intensity.
You're like,
And
you
she's
finally
like,
got it.
he got it down. He used it appropriately, and it was very effective on Nora.
So great.
Oh, man.
I love that Fridge is also trying to eat a piece of cake and he can't bring himself to do it.
He can't do it, even though it's not his weakness anymore. He can't do it. He's like, mm.
So
And then
that-
they have the scene after the credits where it's like you see a whole herd of ostriches running down the street.
Well, and it starts with Spencer's mom finally getting the heat guy in to fix the heater in
Which
the
is
basement.
the guy who plays Winston.
Winston
in
off of
New
New
Girl.
Girl. I was like, "Hey, that's Winston."
Yes.
And so the game's still down there, and they start hearing
That's
the
what it
drums,
was,
and then
yeah.
it cuts
I
to the
forgot about
restaurant
that.
and the herd of ostriches running outside, and you're like, and I couldn't remember because I haven't seen the first one in so long. After the first one, was there a cut scene like that? Was there a scene that kind of left it up?
Oh,
do
man.
you remember what it was?
They
If there was
Jennifer?
one,
They heard the drums, remember?
Was there
They
a
just
scene
heard.
after the credits in the first Jumanji?
in the second one.
Or yeah, in the second. Yeah.
I think they did. I think you're right. They might
heard
have been
the
at
drums.
school and you heard the drums. They just heard the
Yeah,
drums.
Just so you know that something else
So anyway,
is up.
they
Yeah.
heard the drums again. So there. But see, what's interesting though is that they didn't really address that in the third one from the second one. Like it didn't address them hearing the drums in that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was just letting you know. It was a hint. Like, we've got another one coming.
Well, but they were aware of it. Is what I'm saying. Like, it wouldn't just be like, okay, if they had destroyed it with the bowling ball. All I'm saying is, if we have a fourth one, this whole ostrich thing might be completely random, and they
I
don't
think
like
they're
pick it
gonna
up. So,
address it if they make a fourth
Yeah.
one.
well, if they didn't address the second one, why would they do it? I think they should, but it's like, why would you?
Well, it was just the sound, and I think they just tried to ignore it because they didn't want to go back.
I don't know. If they destroy it with a bowling ball, it doesn't make sense. I hear what you're saying. It just doesn't make sense.
Ostriches running down the street is a lot different than
It is a lot
regular
different. It is, but
I couldn't help but see a comparison to how this movie ended with the ostriches, of how Jurassic World 2 ended with
yeah.
the dinosaurs like all starting to get out everywhere. So that's what I thought of the whole time. I was like, oh, this is just like Jurassic.
it would be interesting if the next one just
Or
addresses.
Jurassic, Jumanji.
No, not quite. But if it covers like the game's so broken, the game's leaking out into the real world, and so
Yeah.
pieces of Jumanji start popping up in their world, and so instead of them going into the game
It
kind
comes to
of
them, but then
comes
you
to
find
them.
out that their whole life is a game.
I don't know. So this brings up an interesting point because we finished the movie. We finished talking about that. I've read a couple of fan theories that Nigel is not an NPC.
Oh,
That he is the game master and is continuing to
Ooh.
throw them.
Oh, that just gave me chills.
Not necessarily a evil character. Some people have said yes, some people say no, but just not necessarily. He could be, but he could just be a game master
could
that
get
just
behind this
continues
theory. I
to
like
throw
that.
them different scenarios.
I
That
like
he is
him
coming up
being
with
in the game.
everything. That he is really controlling Jumanji, and that he sets these bad scenarios up so that people can come and save it. So anyway,
Was there any other good fan theory?
that was the biggest one I read.
Okay.
All right, now that we've finished talking to me about the movie, I want to know, which avatar would you pick out of the 6 characters?
I'd definitely pick Bravestone.
You'd pick
Oh,
Gravestone?
yeah.
Ruby Roundhouse would be mine for sure, hands down.
I think I would pick either Seaplane or Ming with the new
Ooh,
ones because
yeah.
Huh? What do you think I would pick? Why not? The little thief that can get stuff? Listen, I already have
Ashley
allergies. I'm used to it. It's not a weakness. I've overcome it. I have 0 weaknesses, guys. Okay?
Just take some Claritin, you'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
I do feel like my weakness would be cake, though. Oh, if you just picked one. Okay, and then here's my other question. What would be your dance fighting song?
Roar. Roar by Katy Perry. Did anyone question that?
That
No.
was so fast. So fast. I knew that's exactly. I was going to be disappointed if you didn't say roar.
What would your dance song be?
Oh, gosh.
What would your dance song be at home?
Yeah, let us know. I really want to know.
Your
Like,
dance fight song.
what is it that gets you pumped up and you're excited to go take on the world? I feel like right now, I love, even though it's older now, Despacito. Every time that comes on, I love Despacito. I also love Journey's "Don't Stop Believing." I feel like those are great, solid dance
For a
songs.
fighting song, I don't know specifically. Some kind of rock song though. I feel like it needs to be like a good pumped up rock song. Oh, We Will Rock You. That's a good one. Yeah. I like that.
So let us know, because I mean, this is a very important question.
Do you remember on Drake and Josh when the power went out in that one episode and they did "We Will Rock You" like a cappella / with cans and other random things like in their house, like
vaguely
beating on
remember
stuff?
that one. Yeah.
That's good. If you remember it, let me know. It was very good. I think it
I
was
love
We Will
that
Rock You.
show though.
Yeah,
So good.
it was good.
So great.
Shall we move on to the ratings?
Let's look at the ratings.
Let's do it. I guess I'll start. So Jennifer gave me her rating as well, and she gave it an 8. Jennifer, do you have anything else to say about it? No? Good. Just
An
gave it
8.
An 8. A great 8. I gave it 7.5. My only complaint really was how in the real world outside of the game, I thought it was the relationship of the main 4 characters is over the top, cheesy, and unbelievable. I'm just nobody talks to each other the way they did. I thought it was just, and I like cheesy movies, but that was just over the top even for me. And I was like, eh.
Well, and
I
that's
did
even
not
with
like
the
that.
second one, with both of these, you get those actual characters like you get this much time with them. I mean,
Right.
Bethany's had more time than any of them because she stayed back. In this
Right,
one, you
yeah.
got to actually see her with those actual actors and actresses. And I remember when the first one, when they came back to themselves, or not the first one, the second one, when they came back to themselves after Jumanji, I was like, it's really weird to see them interact. Like, there's just not, because it's different from what you're used to. It's like, this is supposed to be the same characters, it's just different.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I think there's just a level of the way it's done that's awkward, and then with this one, I felt like it was a
Just
little more
odd.
cheesy.
I think it was just some bad writing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sorry, writers.
Anyway, so yeah.
Ashley?
Ashley gave
That's
this
Kenley.
close.
Jerk.
Ashley originally gave this a 6 and then changed it to a 6.5.
Okay.
I also gave it a 6.5 because I was like, can't believe we keep getting the same ratings. I was really excited that she had said 6 because they were different, and then she changed it. But she's not sorry at all. It would have gotten probably a little more, because I do feel like I was able to like predict a lot of the pieces coming, even though they addressed a lot of things. There weren't a lot of plot issues I had with it. It was just, on some levels, it was a little predictable for me.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can generally guess this stuff better than most people anyway, but it doesn't mean I still want it to surprise me, you know what I mean? And just some places like it didn't. Like when I saw the blimp, I was like, and that's where the horse is gonna fly. Like I was like,
Yeah.
I saw that one coming. And then the climax just wasn't boom. So that was why it was, but I really enjoyed this movie. It was very good.
Yeah, this movie was great. I gave it a 6. I really enjoyed it. I thought
High praise from
High
Beth.
praise from Beth.
I thought it was
That's
funny.
a John Twinney.
I feel like
That was good.
it was enjoyable, and I like the plot is simple and it's very predictable, but I loved just the enjoyment of watching the characters play avatars.
That's what really, that was one of, with this movie,
Like
this-
just watching them interact. Like you could take the plot out and just watch them interact, and it would be so entertaining.
I think that was the highlight of this movie for me, was to see how these actors played different people. I mean, they really did.
Right.
They've got to be themselves a little bit because they're that character, but they're more the character that's that character as well. And adding that element of switching it was huge, and it's hard to do. And they did great.
Yes.
They really did.
So I've tallied it up, put our 5 together. So our crew review for this movie is, drumroll, Jumanji drumroll, 6.9.
Whoa.
So that's a good one.
All
That's a
right.
good one.
Cool.
Yeah.
That was good. Good.
That's a good one.
But before we move on, about ratings, what would you think is a 10?
We'll have to come back to that.
No, like you don't know anything on the spot. Ashley says there's no such thing.
The limit does not exist. 2 Mean Girls
I think
references in
it
one
ex-
show. You're welcome, fans. You're welcome.
Is that a 10 for you, Mean Girls?
Yes, yes. Certain Harry Potters are a 10.
Okay.
Not all of the movies. 6,
Ain't that the truth?
we'll get into this a little more, but the 6th book is my favorite book, and the movie really disappointed me on how they left stuff out. So it's still high, but it's just,
That's a whole nother show in itself.
that's a whole nother show. We'll have to do
Yeah,
some
no.
bonus episodes with that. We won't
Okay,
get crazy.
absolutely.
So
I know that a 10 exists, but I don't know what it is. I just feel like I'll know it when I see it.
And also, and this is something I feel like we want to do with this show, because when you have a lot of reviews from other people, you know, they look at set things for every single show, and they've got their system down. But for us, it's a lot based on how the movie gets us. You know,
Yeah.
there's a movie
Yeah.
that can really, like last week, we were very much divided with Onward. You know,
Yeah.
but it just depends on how a movie will hit you. Like you know, for us and
It's truly personal
It tru-
opinions
yeah.
instead of like structured critiques.
it's not as much does it check all these things off, but it's more for us, you know, how is
Right.
it so there may be a movie that we just like with Mean Girls, like there are some there's some plot holes with Mean Girls that people have shown me. I don't care. I love that movie, you know. Like for that, I just really like that movie for a number of reasons. We'll have to have like bonus episodes where we pick our favorite movie or a favorite movie of ours and we
Yeah.
review it and see how other people feel about it. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yes.
So but that's how I think we're all like to kind of review movies based on how that movie affects us, I guess, you know?
Off camera, Jennifer says Toy Story is a 10. So just passing along the word.
That would be a good one.
Solid. All right, so our next movie that we will be reviewing is Spies in Disguise with, is it Will Smith?
Will
and
Smith.
Tom Holland? I think, is Tom Holland in it?
Yes,
Yeah,
Tom
okay.
Holland.
I thought so. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Have y'all seen it?
Mm-mm.
You haven't seen it? So I don't think any of us have seen it yet. So yeah, so we're excited.
Looking forward to
And-
it. It'll be
all right.
fun.
Kenley, want to take it out?
I will. All right, until next time, we go big tonight.
Bye, guys.